Welcome to my woodworking channel. This is my first video, and what you're actually looking at is my shop, where I'm currently in the process of putting some bookcases together, and as you can see, I'm right in the thick of it. As you can see, my shop is pretty much a mess at the moment. In fact, I would go as far as to say it's almost a bit of a disaster, and I've got some significant space issues here, being a small garage workshop, and so therein lies my challenge. So for those of you who are interested, I'll start off firstly talking a little bit about my bookcases and how the method of construction that I've used here. So basically, I've got some. These are going to be built-in bookcases. I'll shoot a little bit of video of the place where they're eventually going to end up, so you can see the space that I'm dealing with. It's a study. There's two little nooks in the wall where these are going to fit into. So this is going to be two bookcases side by side. The material that I'm using is pine, which I've stained, and these pieces here will require one last coat of stain before I do the top coat, and those pieces up there that are sort of standing up against the wall, or the cabinets there, are actually finished. They've got some top coat on them already and they're good to go. So they're going to be what's visible on the internal side of the bookcase, and as you can see over here we have the shelves that are going to obviously be within the two bookcases. So as I said, I've used pine as my primary material, which I chose primarily to sort of save costs, but this has turned out to be a much more labour intensive project than I ever imagined, partly because of my desire to cut costs. It's increased the labour and the processes that I've had to employ to actually achieve the desired result. So I wanted to go for thick shelves and to give the appearance of a thick bookcase, and so that's meant there's been a lot of laminations and a lot of glue ups. And of course, using pine and wanting to give the appearance of more expensive timber, it's meant staining, it's meant sanding, and it's been a huge headache, but I'm confident that it's going to come up looking great when it's done. So just to give you a bit of a close-up of the bookshelves, maybe the shelves firstly. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'll get right up close here. So basically what I've got here is two pieces of pine that have been laminated to form the shelf itself, and then on the edge piece there, I've also laminated using biscuits a thinner strip across the front edge of the shelf, so it looks like it is one solid piece. And that was a whole process in itself, because I've got so many shelves. That took a lot of time. And so every shelf has gone through that process. So there's been a lot of glue ups, a lot of biscuit joining, etc. And that's before we even got to the staining. But the end result is, I think it looks pretty good, we're getting close. So there. So we've got seven shelves per bookcase. Two of those are going to form the bottom and the top, so effectively there's probably going to be around 6 shelves per bookcase, with the top one obviously being the top piece. These narrower pieces here are going to form the longer face frame edges once it's up and running, with the front strip on each shelf essentially already there and part of what's going to end up being the face frame. So these longer pieces here, as I said before, is what's going to be visible on the internal side of the bookcases. And because I'm going to screw from the back of those, they haven't been stained on the back. And so to cover up the screw holes that are going to be visible, you know, I've got these pieces here, which you can see, which are then going to be sandwiched on the outside to basically hide all the screw holes and screws, etc., which is going to give, you know, the appearance of sort of a more finished product where none of the screws are visible, and so that's the sort of the approach I adopted there. And then, as I said before, these narrower pieces are going to be the long edge of the face frame. So that's pretty much it. As I said, these pieces here are going to get one more coat of stain, and then the top coat and the shelves have already gone through that process because of you know, a trial and error approach that I've adopted here. This has taken me weeks to get to this point. You know, with the need to sand between coats of stain and etc. I had some problems with just not enough material, stain material on there really to allow for sufficient, you know, sanding, and so I had problems with some of the stain coming off, etc. The sandpaper cutting through. So it's been a huge learning curve. I've had to redo a lot of redos with the colour, but you know, maybe if I get a little bit closer so you can see, I think the colour has come up pretty nice. Not sure how visible that is, and it's going to end up looking pretty nice, I think, eventually. I'll put some focus here. So it's been a huge learning experience, but we've got the desired colour now, and I think my advice to anyone looking at you know, doing this staining is be prepared for a long drawn-out process. If you're going to stain pine, make sure you use wood conditioner and follow the directions before you get into the staining. Sand that back, make sure it's smooth. My advice is put a couple of coats of stain on and you know, reconsider the need for sanding at that point. My advice is put the stain on, put a couple of coats of top coat then on it, then sand. Otherwise you're going to have all sorts of problems. And then sand lightly before the final finish. I probably wouldn't advise sanding once the stain is on, simply because in my experience, and it could be just the way I've done it, but in my experience you really don't have enough material on there to stain without risking removing the colour itself. My main objective at the moment is to get rid of you know, this project as soon as I can, because as you can see, it's taking up a huge amount of space and is pretty much holding up everything else that I want to do. So anyway, that's it. Sorry to bore you if I've gone on too long, but this is my first video, so hopefully I'll get better at this, and so thanks for watching.